So here's what everyone's talking about now from Kevin O'Connor. Paul George remains plan A for the Philadelphia 76ers, while Brandon Ingram is considered their fallback plan. Because, it is widely expected that the New Orleans Pelicans could break up the Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram tandem and try to go in a different direction. I never thought that would work in the first place, even though Zion, when healthy, is an animal, but both of them, kind of operate in the same space. They don't really complement each other very well, and that's also a con, I guess you could say, when you think about Brandon Ingram on the Sixers. But here's what Kevin O'Connor said. Aside from the pipe dream that Kevin Durant or Jimmy Butler would ask to be dealt directly to Philly, sources familiar with the Sixers' thinking say that Brandon Ingram is the primary fallback plan. Ingram would have to be acquired in a trade from the New Orleans Pelicans since he's under contract for $36 million with a 15% trade kicker through the 2024-25 season. Brandon Ingram, man, I like Brandon Ingram, and we probably should have drafted him over Ben Simmons back in the 2016 draft. I think Brandon Ingram being expected to lead a franchise like he is in New Orleans is not really what he is. I don't think he has that leadership, that real killer mentality as you saw his performance in this year's playoffs. He kind of, folded under pressure as far as being a team leader or the Pelicans expecting him to be a number one guy. Brandon Ingram as a third option isn't terrible. I don't like it as much as Paul George. I'll tell you that right now. Even 35-year-old Paul George. I'll take 35-year-old Paul George as a third option over Brandon Ingram right now. That might sound crazy to you guys because Brandon Ingram's 27. But Brandon Ingram shoots 3 3-pointers per game. And that's the main issue that I have with his game, is that there's a lot of Tobias Harris vibes there as far as his style of play. Is he better than Tobias Harris? Of course he is. Can he get to a mid-range jumper way better than Tobias Harris can? Yes. Does he play through contact way more than Tobias Harris does? Of course he does. A million times better than Tobias Harris, but really, I've hated the Tobias Harris fit next to Joel for a long time because of his reluctancy to shoot 3-pointers. Bringing in Brandon Ingram, also not a guy that shoots a lot of three, doesn't stretch the floor a lot, operates in the same space that Joel Embiid operates in, and I don't like it. I think the perfect construction around Joel Embiid is 4 guys on the perimeter, bro. I mean, we all played 2K. It's not rocket science. You run a 4-out, 1-in. You try to get Joel Embiid in a one-on-one matchup, and you fucking dunk on people, and you force them to bring a double team. You kick it out. You swing it around the perimeter. You find the open man. Basketball's not rocket science. It really is. It's very simple. But if you're putting players like Brandon Ingram on the floor, who needs to dribble and get into space and loves to get into a little turnaround mid-range jumper, it's just not the best idea, I don't think. Same thing with the DeMar DeRozan trade. It's just not the best idea. It's their plan B. I don't think it's terrible. Again, at the end of the day, you almost beat the Knicks, which then you probably would have beat the Pacers, and you probably would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals if Tobias Harris didn't absolutely suck. We can look at depth, but realistically, Nick Nurse played 8 guys in the playoffs. So we need to get the best 8 guys. It's what you need to do. Brandon Ingram gives you a better chance than what we had in the first round this year, and I understand why it would be the Sixers' fallback plan or second option. If they can't swindle Paul George away from LA by just offering him more money than the Clippers are. But I guess he's young enough too. Then it gives you a little bit more of a future outlook as far as after Joel Embiid inevitably can't walk in 2 years. Knock on wood, not trying to wish harm on the guy at all, but let's be serious. His knees look like they were in World War III on the front lines. So I don't absolutely hate the Brandon Ingram thing, but that is their backup plan if they can't land Paul George. And we did the thing with Jake Fisher from Yahoo, who was explaining why teams try to get 3 All-Stars on a team. And it's just what Daryl Morey is going to do, He's going to try to get a 3rd star. Their number 1 option is Paul George. Their second option is Brandon Ingram right now. What you guys think, man? What you talking about in the chat? Where'd my chat go, man? No wonder I can't see what you guys are saying. I had it covered up. What's going on in the chat, man? What you guys talking about, bro? Mr. Rudy drops another super chat. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the support. Dude, pull up PG's last playoff series. Way off. P is cooked, and the Sixers are cooked if we get him. Yeah, I was looking at that last playoff series against the Mavericks, and it wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. But, the year before that, he had a sprained UCL. The year before that, he had a really good playoffs. So, yeah, that was 3 years ago. The difference between 32 and 35 is a lot bigger than the difference between 22 and 25. When you get into your mid-30s, every year wasted is another year of age. So I'm not disagreeing with you at all, bro. I'm not. I'm just telling you, Mr. Rudy, we got to look at what's Daryl Morey going to do? And we got to accept it. And we got to say, that's what's going to happen. He's going after Paul George. And if you can't get him, Brandon Ingram's probably a second option. That's what he's going to do. We could sit here till we're blue in the face and say that's a bad idea. Do you think Daryl Morey listens to anybody? No, the guy trolled the fans in front of a crumble cookie building, dude. He's an idiot. Inevitably, he's going to make a signing. The Sixers are going to implode and collapse again, and it's going to turn out how it always turns out. Let's be real. Why would it work out? It's the 76ers, man. But I'm just giving you the facts.